Why Mrs. Brown's Boys Should Be Cancelled, a critical review. It's time to face the uncomfortable truth. Mrs. Brown's Boys has overstayed its welcome, and the BBC needs to pull the plug. But here's where it gets controversial. Despite its glaring flaws, the show has clung to the airwaves like a stubborn relic, leaving many to wonder, why hasn't it been cancelled already? Brendan O'Carroll's sitcom, with its outdated humor and questionable sensibilities, continues to occupy prime TV real estate, raising questions about its enduring appeal and the BBC's programming choices. Last year's racism scandal, where a racially charged term was reportedly used during rehearsals for a Christmas special, seemed like the final nail in the coffin. Yet, here we are, with a fifth season rolling out on BBC One. And this is the part most people miss. The scandal barely made a dent in the show's trajectory. But why? Is it time for critics to reevaluate their stance? Or is the show's persistence a symptom of something deeper? Let's be clear. Mrs. Brown's Boys hasn't gotten any better. The fifth season is more of the same, predictable, cringeworthy humor that feels like a relic from another era. Take the opening episode, for instance. Kathy, Jennifer Gibney, attempts to launch a podcast about interesting women, only for Agnes O'Carroll to stumble in and derail everything. It's a setup so obvious, so devoid of subtlety, that it almost feels like a parody of itself. The jokes are less like comedy and more like a clumsy explanation of humor to someone who's never experienced it. It's so bad, it's almost impressive, like watching a train wreck in slow motion, but with dick jokes. Here's where it gets even more divisive. Could Brendan O'Carroll be a genius postmodernist satirist? Is the show an elaborate critique of sitcom cliches? And have we all been played? It's a tempting thought, but let's be real. The evidence points to no. Instead, Mrs. Brown's Boys serves a very specific purpose for the BBC. Its unapologetically anti-woke stance acts as a shield, a fig leaf the broadcaster can point to when accused of being too progressive by right-wing critics. Remember Top Gear? Same playbook. The racism scandal, however, was a turning point. It exposed the show's underlying values, or lack thereof. While the exact joke remains a mystery, it was reportedly offensive enough to prompt the resignation of a black production team member. YouGov's 2018 polling shed more light. 70% of the show's fans were aged 45 or above, and 62% voted leave in the EU referendum. This isn't an argument against the show's existence. The BBC should cater to diverse tastes, but it does highlight its role as a cultural lightning rod. Yet, the numbers tell a story of decline. The 2013 Christmas special drew 9.4 million viewers. By 2024, that number plummeted to 2.2 million. What happened? Was it natural attrition? Or did audiences finally tire of its tone-deaf humor? In 2025, the show feels like an absurd anachronism, its quality control as non-existent as ever. But now hardly anyone cares. It's not going out with a bang, but a whimper. And for everyone's sake, it's time to end it. Here's the question I'll leave you with. Does Mrs. Brown's Boys deserve to be remembered as a cultural relic, or should it be forgotten entirely? Let's debate it in the comments. Top 10 must-watch shows this weekend. Mrs. Brown's Boys Chief of War The Notebook Review. Get ready for a thrilling day of entertainment with a mix of comedy, drama, and music that's sure to captivate audiences of all ages. But here's where it gets interesting. Some of these shows and movies have been met with controversy and criticism, sparking heated debates among fans and critics alike. First up, we have the return of the beloved sitcom Mrs. Brown's Boys, which has been a huge hit despite being lambasted by critics. The show's creator, Brendan O'Carroll, has transformed into a household name, and the show's fifth mini-season is set to premiere on BBC One and RTE1. But what makes this show so popular, despite its critics? Is it the lovable but loud-mouthed Agnes Brown, or the show's relatable portrayal of family life? Meanwhile, a new U.S. sitcom, Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage, is set to premiere on RTE2. This sequel to Young Sheldon follows the marriage of Georgie Cooper and Mandy McAllister, who is 12 years his senior. But what can we expect from this new show, and will it live up to the success of its predecessor? For music lovers, Tradfest, The Fingal Sessions is a must-watch. This show celebrates the contribution of the traveler community to Irish music, featuring performances by Sharon Ward, Steo Wall, and Thomas McCarthy. But what role does music play in bringing communities together, and how can we learn from the rich cultural heritage of the traveler community? On the big screen, Chief of War is a sweeping epic that tells the story of Hawaii's unification and colonization in the late 1700s. Led by Jason Momoa and a largely Polynesian cast, this movie is a powerful exploration of identity, culture, and the impact of colonialism. But what can we learn from this period in history, and how can we apply those lessons to our modern world? Romance fans will be delighted by The Notebook, a tear-jerking love story that follows an elderly man as he reads a love story to a nursing home resident. But what makes this movie so enduringly popular, and what can we learn from its portrayal of love and relationships? For those who prefer action and adventure, Ride the High Country is a classic Western that follows a marshal and his former partner as they reunite to protect a shipment of gold bullion. But what makes this movie so underrated, and what can we learn from its exploration of loyalty and betrayal? Miley Cyrus fans will be thrilled by her new pop opera, Something Beautiful, which features 13 original songs and a dazzling visual album. But what can we expect from this new project, and how does it reflect Miley's growth as an artist? Finally, for those who enjoy true crime documentaries, the Facebook honey trap, Catching a Killer, is a gripping story of a woman who helps track down her aunt's murderer from 6,000 miles away, using fake profiles and sheer determination. And how can we apply those lessons to our own lives? And this is the part most people miss: the impact of social media on our lives and our relationships. From the rise of online cults to the spread of misinformation, social media has the power to both unite and divide us. So what can we do to harness its power for good? And how can we protect ourselves from its negative effects? As we explore these questions and more, we invite you to join the conversation. What do you think about the role of social media in our lives, and how can we use it to build stronger, more compassionate communities? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Mrs. Brown's Boys returns to BBC despite racism scandal. Worst show ever back on air. Imagine this: a TV show so divisive that it's been dubbed the worst ever on the BBC is making a comeback tonight, despite being at the center of a major racism controversy. Yes, you read that right. Mrs. Brown's Boys, a sitcom that has been a lightning rod for criticism since its debut in 2011, is returning for its 5th full-length series. But here's where it gets controversial. The show's lead star and creator, Brendan O'Carroll, found himself in hot water last year over a racial joke that sparked outrage and led to an apology. But did the controversy actually do more harm than good? Let's dive in. Mrs. Brown's Boys first hit the airwaves in 2011, and now, after a tumultuous journey, it's back for another round. Tonight at 9:30 p.m., the show will air its 5th series, but not everyone is thrilled about it. In fact, many viewers have taken to social media to express their disdain. One viewer on X bluntly stated, "Worst program in human history, should have never been commissioned." Another added, "Just speechless. I honestly don't know one person who thinks this show is remotely funny." A third chimed in, "I don't know anyone who will admit to liking or even just watching this show." But why the backlash? Well, it all started with a racial slur during rehearsals for the show's Christmas special. The crew was left shocked, and production was suspended while the BBC launched an investigation. O'Carroll later apologized, calling his joke a clumsy attempt, but he also had some surprising things to say about the incident. In an interview on the Irish YouTube show Conversations with Jerry Kelly, O'Carroll shared his belief that the controversy was actually a good thing for the BBC. He argued that it raised awareness about racism and showed that the BBC takes such issues seriously. The context of it was completely taken out of context, he said. However, I think in the long run it was a good thing, because it got people talking about it. And this is the part most people miss. While the apology was a step in the right direction, the fact remains that the show has a history of sparking controversy. So, as Mrs. Brown's Boys returns to our screens, the question remains, can the show overcome its controversial past, or will it continue to divide audiences? What do you think? Will you be tuning in tonight, or are you among those who think this show should have been left in the past? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, whether you love it or hate it, Mrs. Brown's Boys is back, and it's sure to spark some heated debates.